Hey everyone, welcome. So today we're going to dive into something that's a real game changer for AI agents, giving them a memory. We'll explore how CrewAI uses this incredible concept called embeddings, which lets your whole crew of agents remember, recall, and actually build on what they've done before. Let's jump right in.
Okay, so here's what we've got on the agenda. First, we'll talk about the main challenge of AI memory. Then we're going to unpack what text embeddings actually are. After that, we'll see how they give your crew a working memory, look at some real-world code, and finally, help you figure out which provider is the perfect fit for your project.
All right, so let's kick things off with the big problem we're trying to solve. Imagine you've built this amazing team of AI agents. You tell them what to do, they get to work, and then, poof, they forget everything. Without a memory, it's like they have amnesia every single time, treating every new task like it's the first they've ever seen.
Right? I mean, that's the million-dollar question. It would be absolute chaos. Think about a human team where nobody remembers the last meeting or conversation. You'd have people doing the same work over and over, with zero real progress. That's exactly the amnesic AI problem we're here to fix, because without memory, you just can't get real teamwork done.
So how in the world do we fix this? Well, the key, the magic sauce, really, is something from the world of machine learning called text embeddings. This is the technical wizardry that unlocks memory for our AI agents.
So what exactly are embeddings? The easiest way to think about it is like a giant, super detailed map for language. Basically, you take any word or phrase, and it gets its own address, a bunch of numbers on this map. And the cool part is, things with similar meanings, like cat and kitten, or AI research and machine learning papers, get placed really, really close to each other. That closeness is how a machine starts to understand context and meaning, not just words.
So here's how it really works under the hood. First, you grab some text, and you turn it into these special number-based vectors we were just talking about. This process doesn't just copy the words, it captures the meaning. These vectors then get stored away as memories. So later, when a new task comes up, the agent can search its memory for the most similar vectors, pulling up the most relevant info from the past to help it figure out what to do now.
Okay, that's the theory. But, how does this whole language map thing actually help a crew of AI agents in the real world, inside CrewAI? Let's take a look.
The absolute game changer here is continuity. Think about it. A researcher agent digs up some crucial facts. It can then save those findings, as embeddings, into a shared memory, maybe a database. Later on, even in a totally new session, a writer agent can tap into that memory and ask, hey, what's the most relevant research we have on this topic? It's not just about remembering the last thing someone said. It's about building a persistent, shared brain for the entire crew.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the what and the why. Now for the fun part, the how. We're going to get into the actual code, and you're going to see it's actually way easier than you might think.
All right, option number 1, OpenAI. It's kind of the go-to for a lot of people, and for good reason. You get this awesome balance of top-notch quality without a huge headache to set it up. If you just need something that works and works well, this is a fantastic place to start.
And check out how simple the code is. Seriously, inside your crew's setup, you just flip the switch, memory equals true. Then you just set up this embedder dictionary, tell it the provider is OpenAI, and pick your model. That's it. CrewAI takes care of all the heavy lifting in the background.
So, the bottom line for OpenAI. It's your rock-solid choice for pretty much any general-purpose project where you need great performance without breaking the bank. That text embedding 3 small model is super efficient and a perfect starting point for most things you'll want to do.
Okay, moving on to option 2, Google. Now, if OpenAI is the great all-arounder, think of Google as the globetrotter. Their models are trained on just a mind-boggling amount of global data, which gives them a serious edge if your agents need to handle content from all over the world. And you'll see the setup here looks pretty darn familiar. Just switch the provider to Google and point to the model. The one little difference you'll spot in the config is that you also have to pass in your Google API key. But that's it. Another simple change for a really powerful feature.
So where does Google really shine? It's all about that powerful multilingual support. If you're building a crew that needs to understand and work with info in a bunch of different languages, Google's embeddings are an absolutely fantastic choice.
Now, what if you want to be in total control, or maybe you want to dodge those API fees? Well, that's where the open source world of Hugging Face comes into play. This is where you get ultimate flexibility.
And hey, you know the drill by now. Set the provider to Hugging Face.
The real magic here is that model parameter. You can point it to tons of different open-source models right from the Hugging Face hub. The one we're showing here, All-Mini LM L6v2, is a great little model that's lightweight enough to run on your own machine.
So who is Hugging Face for? Well, if you love flexibility, you want to keep costs down, and you want the freedom that only open source can give you, this is your answer. It's perfect for research, trying out new ideas, or building something you can host and control all on your own.
And last but not least, we've got our fourth option, Cohere. Now, these guys have really honed in on a specific area, high-performance English language applications, especially things like semantic search and retrieval.
The setup is once again super straightforward. Just like with Google, you set the provider to Cohere, pick your model, and pop in your API key. This simplicity is totally on purpose. It's designed for developers who are building apps where performance is critical and they need to get moving fast.
So, Cohere is the specialist. It really shines when your main goal is lightning-fast and accurate semantic search, but specifically in English. If you're building a production system where that's the top priority, Cohere's embeddings are a seriously strong contender.
Phew, okay, that was a lot. We've looked at 4 really powerful options, so which one is right for you? This last part is all about putting them side by side to help you make that call.
Let's put it all together in this little showdown table. Okay, look here. For most general-purpose apps where you need a good balance of quality and cost, OpenAI is your best bet. Now, what if you need to work with multiple languages? Your eyes should go straight to Google. Down a row, if flexibility, low cost, or self-hosting is your main thing, Hugging Face is the clear winner. And finally, if you're building a high-performance search tool just for English, Cohere is tailor-made for that. This chart right here is your cheat sheet.
So what's the big takeaway here? Giving your AI a memory isn't some far-off sci-fi dream anymore. It's literally just a couple of lines of code. The tech is here, and it works. So that leaves us with a much bigger, more interesting question. Now that our AIs can remember, what are the most important things we should teach them? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.